How's it going, guys? My name is LongBarrel and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my video settings, audio settings, game settings, crosshair, config, auto exec file, all that good stuff. Basically, a lot of people have been asking me for my video settings and my in-game settings in general, and instead of answering each person one by one, I decided to make one big video about it. So starting off, I'm going to be talking to you guys about my video settings. So obviously I play on widescreen 16:9. I actually used to play on 16:10 on the resolution 1600 by 1024, but I've recently, maybe like a few months ago, switched to 16:9 1920 by 1080p, as I feel like it's a lot crisper. My aim feels a lot better, I feel more accurate, and it just looks a lot better than playing on a smaller resolution such as 1600 by 1024. Now, all of my options are on low and disabled, except of course multi-core rendering and my global shadow quality, which is set to high. The reason why I have it set to high, even though most people have it set on low, is because I do have a good graphics card that I could sacrifice this setting and have it on high, that it won't have any impact on my performance. But the second reason is because the lower you go with your shadow quality, then the shorter distance it is for you to be able to see the shadow. So if you're on high, then you'd be able to see an enemy's shadow at a longer distance than if you were to, for example, be on very low. Now, as for everything else, vertical sync and motion blur is obviously disabled, and my texture filtering mode is on bilinear. Moving on to my audio settings, there are a lot of settings here that don't really matter, to be honest. It's all about preference. But for example, my VoIP volume, which is the volume of your voice over IP, I'm not sure if it affects your voice or but I know for a fact that if you lower this setting, then you will hear your teammates' voices a lot quieter. So I have this set to 0.4, which is 40%. My speaker configurations at headphones, I feel like this is the most beneficial one because it's the loudest and it's the clearest for me. My music volume is theme overlay. I'm not really sure what this one does, to be honest. Master volume 0.8, and there's actually this one setting here, play audio when gaming in background. This is one of the most important settings for me personally, because I do tab out a lot in game, and when I do, I need to be able to hear what's happening in game while I'm tabbed out, and this setting does allow me to hear what's happening in game while I'm tabbed out. Basically, if there's the bomb goes off or the round is over, I'm able to hear that the round is over because I can hear all of the audio that's coming out of the game while I'm tabbed out. So if you guys are having a problem where you guys miss out on buy rounds or whatever on the very beginning of the round because you're tabbed out, turn the setting on. Next time you're tabbed out, you'll be able to know what's happening in game. So my music options, everything is turned off except my master music volume, which is at 0.2 or 0.3. It all depends. It's all preference. It just depends how quiet you want your 10-second warning volume to be on. Guys, have this on no matter what. This setting is a lifesaver. It's going to have a 10-second music song, whatever, is going to play every end of the match when there's 10 seconds left in the round. So if the bomb's about to explode, the last 10 seconds is going to start playing the music so you know whether it's safe to defuse or not, if you have a kit or not, or whatever, all that good stuff. This is very important, as sometimes you might not even know you have 10 seconds left in the round. You might be so concentrated in the game. So make sure you guys have this on, and you'll be good to go whenever you're clutching or trying to win the round. In-game settings, there's not a lot to talk about here, but my crosshair style is of course classic and static. This is my favorite style of crosshair. I tried out a lot of styles, but classic static is my favorite one, which is of course CL_crosshair style 4 in the console settings, and my crosshair color is light blue. I'm actually going to go over all of my crosshair settings in just a bit. I'm just kind of going through my in-game settings at the moment. Switch weapon on pickup is obviously no. Newer players, if you guys have this setting still enabled, please turn it off. You'll find that if whenever you're in a gunfight and you're using your pistol and you pick up a weapon such as a primary gun, it's gonna force you to pick it up, and you might get yourself killed that way. So have this disabled and you won't have a problem with that anymore. My View model position is of course classic. This is the view model that I use always. A lot of people ask about my view model. This is what I use. So just go into game settings and change it to classic if you want to recreate my crosshair. For the last option is my radar options, which is my radar HUD size, which is a 1.1. I kind of have my HUD pretty big, or my radar pretty big, so I don't have to focus on it that much. And my radar map zoom, which is at 0.35, which is kind of zoomed out, to be honest, because I'd be able to see more of the map, so I know what's happening. There's actually one more command or setting in here, which is HUD Scale. Pump this up, guys, because you'd be able to focus in on the settings around you, or the HUD settings, or whatever you call it, the indicators around your HUD, a lot easier than if it was, for example, zoomed out. So mine's set to at 0.85. You can have it at 1 if you want. That'll be pretty big, to be honest, but it all depends on your resolution. For my keyboard and mouse settings, I'm not going to go over my bindings at the moment. I will talk to about them in my config later on in the video. But for now, I want to talk to you guys about my mouse sensitivity, which is of course at 0.7. My zoom sensitivity is at 0.7 as well. Coincidentally, no, this has nothing to do with them being the same. The reason why I use 0.7 for my zoom sensitivity, it just means that it will be 0.7, which is 70% slower than your mouse sensitivity. So it doesn't mean that it's 0.7 sensitivity when you zoom in. It just means that it's 70% that of your mouse sensitivity. So moving on, this is actually my AutoExec file. I'm not going to provide this one in the description, but I will provide my config file, which I will get to in just a bit. These are my my rates commands, which I'm not really sure what all of these mean, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I set these up a long time ago and I haven't changed them since. But my FPX max is set to 999, even though it doesn't really matter. I just kind of like to have a high FPS. I can have a lot of FPS because my graphics card does allow me to do so. These are my binds. These are all my buy binds, actually. My up arrow, which is obviously the up arrow on the right side of my keyboard, which is buy armor. This is buy head armor. This is not by just regular Kevlar. My left arrow buys a flashbang, down arrow buys a smoke grenade, and my right arrow buys a HE grenade. Now, recently I just made a new bind, which was by RCTRL, I think that's what it is, and I did, I think, by Molotov. I've been using Molotovs a lot lately because of this command, and it's very easily accessible because they're all lined up with the bottom arrows, so I can just easily with my 4 fingers press all those buttons and I have a full set of nades. Now for my last command here, this is my jump throw command. If you guys want, you guys can just copy this out, or I'll actually provide the actual code in the description of the video. So basically I have it set to Alt. You can have it set to any button you want, but what it does is if you have a grenade and you click and hold left mouse button or your attack button and you press that button, it's gonna throw the grenade or the smoke at a perfect combination of jumping and attacking. Basically, you're gonna have the perfect pattern always whenever you throw it, without having any sort of inconsistencies with the throw. So you can, if you have a set smoke from, for example, Mirage T-spawn, where you want a smoke window, you can just line up your throw, press that button, and it's going to land in that window every single time with 100% accuracy. And last but not least, of course, this is my config file. This is the config file that I will provide in the description, but make sure that if you were to replace your own config file, make a backup of your config file first before you replace it with mine. There's not a lot to talk about here, but of course my CL_crosshair commands. These are the ones that that people ask me for. You can actually find all of my crosshair commands in all of my video descriptions, and I'm actually going to talk to you guys about some of them, which is of course my crosshair color, which is the light blue. That's how you get it. There's actually an RGB spectrum as well here if you guys want to recreate that. It doesn't really matter. I don't play without it. I don't play with the dot. My crosshair gap is -2. Crosshair scale is 2. Crosshair size is 3, even though it's supposed to be a 3.5. I'm not really sure if that makes a difference or not. I'm not sure if they count decimal points here. Crosshair style is 4, which is the classic static one. Crosshair thickness is 1, and crosshair use alpha 1, which I'm not really sure what that means. I think that means how transparent it is. As for everything else here, there's not much here, but I do have some mouse binds, which are grenade binds, and the best way I can show you guys what these binds are is by using my Logitech gaming software little icon of the mouse here. I use a G502 Proteus, and I have a couple buttons here, which is this button and this button, which is your forward button and your back button. This is the button I use for voice chat, and this is the button that I use for my smoke grenade. I used this button recently, kind of set it up as what this button actually does is it opens up, I believe, some sort of profile in the system, which I don't really use. So instead of having it as that, I decided to bind that into my game, which opens up my Molotov or takes out my Molotov. And this button, which is the mouse wheel button, if you click it once, it's gonna pull up the flash grenade. And that's pretty much all I had to say for my setup, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this cleared up any confusion as to which settings that I'm using. If I missed anything, then you guys can just go over my config file and you guys will know all of my settings. Pretty sure this has all of the commands that I use, all of my binds right here that you guys can see my mouse 1, my mouse 4, my mouse 5, all that good stuff. So yeah, if you guys ever feel confused and want to know what kind of settings I'm using, just refer back to this video. I'm going to leave the config file in the description, and my AutoExec file is pretty small, so that's why I'm not going to include it in my description. But I will include my jumpthrow command, which is kind of important as well if you are playing matchmaking and you want to learn all those smokes. But yeah, I'm not gonna ramble for too long. This video has been long enough as it is. My name is LongBarrel. Thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day, and remember, be water, my friends.